Let's see what's
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's. Their players that don't want to play. You guys would be very, curious what you and some want to go play. Correct.
I don't understand how somebody would buy that.
There's just very, not very many.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7 p.m. Thank you very much for showing up for tonight's City Council special meeting. It's Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. And this is called to order. Can we please all stand for pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start with roll call. Since I'm a lefty, start with the left. Councilwoman Rodriguez.
Here.
Councilwoman Pedro.
Here.
Councilor Jeskins. Here. And I'm here also. Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a town hall meeting. I'm going to request that it's very amicable and professional. If there are any high level or emotional outbursts, I'm going to ask you to refrain yourself, please. We want to go ahead and have a good, wholesome discussion here. So the city council will hear comments from the public on a variety of matters of public concern. Please attempt to address the council as a whole, rather than the individual councilors. Public comment and discussion may be limited. If you wish to address the council, please come forward to the podium and identify yourself with name and address for the record.
My name's Cassie Harvey. I live at 1087th Street. And I realize you just said address the council as whole, so I will. I wanted to know if there is anyone on the council that has the ability or authority to hire a city employee.
To hire a city employee
Correct.
at this time with the interim city manager, no, we do not.
Any city employee.
The city manager.
City manager would be the only one, correct?
Okay, so no one on the council has the authority to do that. Correct? No, that's what I wanted to know. Okay. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come up and discuss anything?
Let me put my piece in.
Come on up.
I'm Tracy Rambo. Y'all know me. I'm a big old troublemaker over on First Street at the two-story orange house,
Okay.
640 First Street. How many people in here have lived here less than 5 years? Y'all should not say nothing. Jervis has been Jervis for a long time, and new people have moved in, and they want Jervis people to kind of change for them, and they don't want to change anymore. Why are y'all fighting like this at City Hall, humiliating yourselves publicly on Facebook, embarrassing your families and your children, and the people that have to see you every day? And why do you even put my name in a text? We don't even know each other. All those texts that you send out, talking shit about people behind your back, the people that live here in Jervis. Listen, now we know exactly who you are. Exactly. Why would you guys do that to yourselves? That's the answer that I want to know. Why did you publicly humiliate yourself for what? What did you gain? What did you gain?
You actually want to answer it?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, I haven't engaged on Facebook at all, actually, with this whole thing. I don't think anybody on here actually has. I don't know what your relationships with people are. Sometimes you talk about what's going on in your life, and I talked to someone about what was going on in my life. You got a small piece of a longer conversation.
Oh, I'm sure there were lots of little bits and pieces that weren't posted.
And I believe if I know what you're talking about, I was talking about you as a candidate. I was talking to somebody about how I felt about if you would be on council, and what my concerns might be. I have no problem with you. I actually,
No, we don't know each other.
you can believe whatever you want, but I have no ill will towards anybody in this room. I actually don't have ill will towards anybody. Even people that talk crap about me right now, I don't have ill will to them. So I understand your frustrations. I sincerely do. The people who are talking the crap on the Facebook, no, I don't believe are in this room.
In there's something. But I have seen you on Facebook. Everybody has.
Yeah,
You know, and your picture with the blue line and all that great stuff. Do y'all think that that's an honorable and respectful way to represent the city? Do you really feel like you all are representing the city respectfully?
That's a great question. I'm actually kind of thrown off by the cadence here. I thought we remember your statements first. I will have a statement that I will make eventually. And I'll tell you exactly how I feel about doing my job here. What I've done behind here is, I can't think of a single thing that I've done unethically behind this podium. I did have a conversation, as you well know, that was probably not as nice as it could have been. And I think we all have those conversations. Not all of them are shared over Facebook. I'm lucky like that. I guess I'm special where my private conversation got shared to everybody. But a lot of it's out of context. Some it's not true. Sorry for your frustration about that. I don't think anybody here though is participating on online fighting.
No, I mean, if you see any of the posts that you're talking about, I have not commented, liked, I have not engaged at all, because what's the point? It's just gonna prolong the drama, and am I supposed to fight back and then they're gonna fight back against me too?
Heather's not here, is she?
So again, so even though it's about the council, I don't think it looks bad on us because we are not the ones who are putting out that negative energy.
Well, I can, that, for the other team, if y'all want, I could start picking up dirt on everybody in Heather's role and being everybody else's coach. You got somebody that's your fall guy that's willing to take the heat for you, that's freaking awesome.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Who's that other lady that's
Just
posting on
because
the-
Heather was a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And is now turned against us because of the way that we decided to
board judges.
move forward with the town. She is actually, she has no dirt on me, and she went after my husband just because she couldn't find anything on me. And now she's posting things, conversations that are misleading because she's not posting the whole thing. She wants to go over after my personal stuff with my land dispute. Has nothing to do with council. That is all separate. I've never brought that into council. There was one time that I brought it up in a council meeting because it was brought up from my neighbor who had issues, saying that I was racist, saying things of the fact that I'm harassing them. Never happened. I have documentation of everything, and I can discuss that personally and privately with everybody. So up here, we are not blasting anything on Facebook. We have not commented, liked, shared anything. We are here to simply get your guys' information. I think a lot of us would like to know if you guys wanted Chase back, that would be like what we'd like to hear tonight. Please give us your opinions on.
That's should be sound.
Why would you hire someone back at fire?
Exactly. We wanted to
There's a reason
give
why they got fired in
opportunity.
the first place.
We wanted to give opportunities for people to have
Lays around for
things.
what the question.
Listen, we need like a news group to come and dig back 4 years and start back from the very beginning of this whole mess that, where there was the first recall and this. And personally, I would like to see y'all step
Okay, so
and have another election. Well, maybe not you, because you really haven't just sat there and done anything. You know, and you and your wife, I do have to say, has been in Jervis a long time, and I really appreciate how much you do for the city. I've watched it and seen it year after year with different events. So I can't really say a whole lot bad about you because you've really gone and done your best for the city.
so
And I've recognized that over the years.
So one of the comments I've heard, and we'll make our statement here in a second, is that I heard it during the election too, us wanting to move forward. Why would bringing a news crew here to dig up 4 years of people's drama help us move forward?
Well, because I think that we could maybe get to the truth. There's always like gonna be your side of the story, their side of the story, and the middle of the road truth. Every situation.
How does it help us move forward?
How can you move forward if you don't know the truth? I don't wanna move forward on a lie.
Well, like.
If I move forward on a lie, I'm just building on a weak frame. It's gonna break. Eventually down the road, somebody's lie is gonna come out to be the truth,
Well,
and it's gonna crumble again.
I don't have a lot to hide. If you want a question for me, go for it. I mean, seriously, what's your question?
No, I don't have any personal questions for you because I don't think the personal questions is where it should be at.
Then I don't know how we get forward.
I don't know, how to move forward would be to resign.
Appreciate your input.
There you go, well, I started to fight on that.
Are you doing tours?
It was all lies, no one ever said anything anyway, I have to point to lies. You ask the liar a question, you're gonna get a lie.
I'm sorry, when I spoke first, I thought it was just that I couldn't talk to the council and.
That's not what you want.
Once again, Kathy Harvey, 1087th Street. I'd like to dispel some lies, rumors, and complete falsehoods concerning Laura Clifton. Contrary to posts stating that Laura was given her job by previous Mayor Annie Gillen, it should be noted that Laura was actually hired originally part-time by John Morgan, the interim city manager. He was the only one with any hiring authority. After John Morgan left and Roger was hired as a city manager, Laura was offered a full-time job as administrative assistant. To post that she was hired by former Mayor Annie Gilliland as her best friend is a blatant lie. The mayor has no hiring authority. As many of you know, Going into a new job with no training, no one to show you the ropes, or no questions answered is a large mountain to climb. This is the territory Laura entered into. I know there were a few slips ups on the water bills and people were outraged, but who has not made a mistake in their work environment? However, please note this was corrected and has not happened again. It was all a learning curve. To the poster who said Laura should be fired, I think you should consider that calling her names, threatening lawsuits, and saying that she was hired because of nepotism. Please get your facts straight before trying to ruin a person's reputation. I will tell you that I know Laura as a friend. No dinners or lunches or secret meetings, however. She was my parents' neighbor for a number of years, which is how I got to know her. She helped out an elderly couple with yard work, power washing, and helping where she could when they could no longer do it. If the poster of all the nasty, hurtful, and untruthful things would just let her do her job, it would be better for all concerned. And I'm talking about your campaign manager.
And I have a campaign manager. Why isn't Heather here? Oh, yeah.
Hello.
You may always send her text.
Hello, Andy.
Hi. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Annie Gilland, 280 3rd Street in Jervis. I've lived here on the 3rd generation. I was also the former recall mayor. First, I would like to say to the 3 council people that are still remaining, I feel that you did the best thing for the city with your hiring choice. My concern is that executive level information has been put out online by Heather Legasso, Brian Wagner's campaign manager. Not accusing you of telling her, but you're inviting it to continue by continuing your association with this person that we have seen hurt people time and time again. What as a community are we going to do to make this nonsense stop? My husband was put out as a pedophile. Petra, you now know how that might have felt. Cost me thousands in attorney's fees for a cease and desist. So going forward, Mayor, what are you going to do about what you've brought to this community? How are you going to calm this down? No one's asking you to pick sides. You did that when you put all of their pictures on your mayoral truck you were driving around. So, Mayor, what are you going to do to make it stop?
First thing I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna go ahead and listen to anybody that has so much emotion in what they want to put as much hate as they can on social media, like many people do. I said I do not really engage in social media. I will not engage in social media. Why? Because this is exactly what happens. Our society has come to the point where everybody just wants to read things and assume things, presume things, and make insinuations about one thing that somebody said without getting the facts. This right here is where it needs to happen. Communication in person, not on social media. But what's happening right now? Everybody in here that is all irate or not irate, doesn't really matter, heard or saw a post that set them off or offended their friend. And you want to know what I feel about Heather or anybody else? I'm going to treat her just like I treat everyone else here. Not because she was a campaign manager. The reason being, because she's a human being. And I don't care if you are a criminal, a drug addict, if you're a great person in society, I'm going to treat you equally like a human being. Now, whatever happens between her and someone else, that's a civil issue, and they need to solve that on themselves. But when it comes to this city, I said I would not engage in this stuff. I'm not going to. I have not responded to any of your posts, anybody else's post, because there's no reason to. Why feed the fire? And what's going on right now is people aren't feeding the fire by fighting fire with fire. They're fighting the fire with gasoline. You are not going to sit here and have me sit in front of a TV and watch an entire show that I disagree with. Okay, I'm going to see it. Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to flip the channel. The reason being, I don't need to engage. I don't need to have that negativity thrown my way. Now, if you personally or anybody else wants that, continue with what's going on. But I'm highly suggesting we start coming together as a community and get past this.
Brian, I'm here in person and you're still not answering the question of what you're going to do to make it better. Because you can't, because you invited it in. That's it. And I'm proud of you guys for at least doing what's right. I don't care what you say. I
Nobody's
don't
ever
care
invited
about
anything. Thank you very much.
I don't care. I don't care what you say.
Drug addict.
Mickey,
All
it's not
different
your
kinds of
turn to
things.
talk.
I don't
Hey,
care.
hey, audience, please. Point of order. Point of order.
Thanks for protecting the city. Preston, good job.
Can we understand this?
I'd like to start.
Yeah, read your statement.
There was actually a question I had for the community. I was hoping they could answer it. And
So,
they're not gonna be able to answer if I don't ask the question.
fair enough.
Do you want to go first? Since you're-
I'm sure people have already read it, but I'd love to go through it. Thank you very much.
Please.
To the residents of Jervis, following the executive session council meeting on April 9th, I've heard there's been a wave of discussion on social media regarding the council's decision to appoint an interim city manager. Regardless of whether I personally agree or disagree with council's decisions, my responsibility as mayor is to maintain a position that is both neutral and supportive. It is not my role to battle with the council or attempt to sway individuals and groups one way or another. It is my opinion this type of divisive management is what has led us to the current state of our community. Leadership to me means fostering respect and unity, not division. As I've said before, I chose not to engage in back and forth exchanges on social media. That's not because I'm ignoring concerns, but because I believe real, meaningful conversations happen face to face. Some have urged me to publicly take a side, to defend one group or condemn another, but that's not why I stepped into this role. I'm here to serve the entire Jervis community and the surrounding communities around us to the best of my abilities. I firmly believe that every human being in our country has a First Amendment right to express themselves. If you have concerns or ideas, I strongly encourage you to attend a city council meeting or reach out directly to City Hall, myself, our department managers, or any of your counselors. These are the spaces where real dialogue happens, where we can listen to each other, ask questions, and work together to create solutions. At the end of the day, we all want what's best for Jervis. That is our shared foundation. We may not always see eye to eye, but if we approach our differences with respect, honesty, and open minds, I truly believe we can move forward together. Now more than ever, it's important that we choose connection over conflict. Let's continue building a community based on communication, compassion, and mutual respect.
So, good evening, people. Jervis, just for the record, my name is Jesse Geddes. I joined the council this last January. I'm very grateful to all of those who came down here, to have your voices heard, and are willing to share your concerns. As many of you know, we've been on the job for roughly 3 months. And during this time, we spent the majority of our time looking to hire an interim city manager and begin the process for looking for a permanent city manager. This has been the #1 priority for many of us. Something that I'm not sure that everyone is aware of, although it sounds like you are, is that the council and the mayor are only the legislative branch of the city government. The entire executive branch falls under the purview of the city manager, which includes reconciling and proposing the budget, as well as personnel decisions and the day-to-day running of the city. During this time, the COG supplied us with our current interim city manager, who spent a great deal of time reconciling our previous year's audits and helping construct the budget for the upcoming year. We were a couple of years delinquent, so this was something that needed to be at the forefront of the city's priorities, and I believe Preston says best to help us achieve that. One thing that's not been addressed adequately is personnel. We're not fully staffed and trained, and I don't believe our current interim city manager felt the authority to tackle this issue in his current role, that we know properly handled by the interim that the council appointed. Since personnel was the next priority after budget, we need to make an appointing as interim city manager the next priority. So let's talk about what that looks like. Once the process began, there hasn't been a single council meeting that's happened. We haven't moved that process forward. The council made a conscious decision to give everyone a fair opportunity on the application. Everyone who applied and wanted to interview got an interview. This actually happened through several different rounds. After all people were given an equal opportunity to go through the process, the council deliberated, and those who stayed for the vote voted unanimously to have the mayor and the city attorney try to negotiate a contract with the agreed candidate. There's been some misrepresentation about how that process actually happened, but feel free to ask about it, and I'm sure all of us will answer it to the best of our ability, and it will be on the record. Now the council is focusing on hiring the process for the permanent city manager. This is also another reason for this town hall. The city manager will hopefully be the city manager for multiple councils, will be pivotal to the town's success. They are the administrative head of our city government, oversee the city's day-to-day, and handles all the personnel. Everyone who lives here or works here is a stakeholder in who that person is. So this is a time where people can voice things they really want to see in upcoming candidates and should determine which candidates to move forward. So right now, I hope people will voice what they want to see from that person, because that's the process we're going for right now. After that, I believe there's a lot of priorities that I hope our city handles, such as building a better relationship with the school district, looking at our water system, the community park, decide whether we're going to expand, or if we're not, we're going to do about Woodburn's steady encroachment upon us, and a myriad of other things I'm sure that we are not thinking about or unaware of. Feel free to let us know. However, that is for us to decide as a community. Do we want to tackle actual issues with the town is facing, or do we want to keep attacking each other? I'll be the first to admit there have been moments of frustration in which I have privately spoken unkindly about a couple of community members, and those who feel wronged, I do apologize. I'm human, and sometimes I say things privately when frustrated that I don't really mean, I shouldn't say. That being said, people's opinions on others hasn't, and it shouldn't impact decisions this council makes as a whole. People's feelings pale in comparison to what's best for the city. I've heard several people's take on what's best for the city. In the last election, gave a clear indication that people want us to bring certain people back, or is it clear the city wants to remove certain people? Here's what actually happened in the last election, at least from my perspective. All sides want to change. All sides want the drama to stop. And after several delays, we finally had an election for council seats. It was extremely close. Most candidates could have lost if a couple people flipped their vote. It was with less than 25% of the population voting. Even the mayor's race, mayor won by only a little over 50%, which means almost 50% of people wanted somebody else. I also suspect that even those who voted for the same candidate didn't do for the same reasons. So the concept that someone wants to posture as they know what's best for the city by themselves is objectively false. Here's what else we know. In the last 3 years, we've had 6 council recalls, including our mayor. We 2 different recalls, 2 have also quit, and 1 didn't seek re-election. That isn't even going how much personnel has changed with the city services. Now there's talk for another recall for those who remain. If it happens, I'm okay with it. I hope the next person who comes on council is able to accomplish a lot, that we focus on what we need instead of focusing on how much to tear each other down. Let me close with a comment about our current city council. I want to go back to the hiring process for the city manager, interim city manager. I know everyone who voted that night did so because they thought it was best for the town. They did it by the book and tried to seek the best candidate for the town. I can also say we all didn't initially agree. It took conversation and compromise. Since then, all the people who voted have been attacked, threatened, and denigrated. One of us even had to resign because the damage was happening to their family. I believe that everyone who stayed and voted that night for interim city manager ran for council because they wanted to improve Jervis. None of us have gained anything from the position. In fact, we even waived the small stipend of $10 per meeting because we didn't really care. We wanted to help the city. They were not, and we are not, your enemies. And I believe they wanted to help the city, and I want to thank them. So thank you. I personally will not be resigning. I am not going to run away because someone else threatened me and targeted my family. I'm proud of the way I behaved on this council. I swear to do my best I can, and that's what I intend to do. I also won't be running. I've grown extremely fond of Jervis, but I'm finding this impacting how I spend time with my children, and that isn't always be a bigger priority for me. I will, however, continue to do the best I can until the end of my term in 2027, or until you recall me. But until then, feel free to ask me questions. Tell me your concerns. I'll try to make things better. My contact information is right up there. Has my personal cell phone on it. Let me know. That's my goal, is to help. I just want to thank you for coming.
Anybody else?
We'll wait for the next 6 months.
Good evening, Jervis. My name is Sandra Gass, and I'm one of the new council members. This is an interesting meeting. I do think it is important that we are available to the community to answer questions and hear people's concerns. But this meeting isn't only that. It is a meeting that comes as our brand new council is under a lot of criticism, a lot of which is untrue or is a personal attack. I decided to run last year because I wanted to help the town and I didn't like the fighting. Since being on council, I've been to every meeting, and I believe there have been multiple meetings every month. I even made sure to be on one virtually while I was in New York and didn't even start till 10 p.m. at that local time. I didn't finish the meeting, to be honest with you, because it was midnight and later. But I've also been assigned to sign the checks, and anytime one needs to be signed, I immediately come down. I've asked questions, weighed information, and voted with what I believe is the best interest of the town. And yet, here we are, more fighting. I purposely stayed clear of that, and now my silence is taken as weakness. So here we are, having a town hall that we do need to have. We can spend more time dealing with the drama, or we can move forward towards making the town better. I have no interest in the drama. So if that's what we want to do, then please recall me, because that is not what I am here for. If you want to help be part of moving us forward, I'm happy to serve the rest of my term. For me, our biggest priority is doing the budget and hiring a permanent city manager. I would like the community's help. If you have any questions or concerns, please voice them tonight. And if you have some later, feel free to reach out, because that is where my priorities lie. Thank you for coming.
I'm not gonna do it, other things.
You didn't have anything or anything? Now that we've read our statements, can the public go ahead and start to ask questions?
I asked the question from the past. What happened to the other two ladies?
They resigned.
I heard that they were joined and terminated and did that really happen?
Has there been a formal process?
May 8th, I believe, will be our formal process of accepting their resignations. Abby resigned after the next morning after our meeting. She did stay for our executive session. Diane resigned after the executive session in her decision because her family was being threatened by a person who's not here in this room. And the rest of us chose to accept the slander on Facebook and decided to stay on council because we believed our decision was moving forward with Jervis, and we felt we made the right decision. And so we sit like this tonight, and we will conduct May 8th with their resignations.
When I do that, let them feel people. I should say them, I should say.
Sure.
I have another concern.
Please come.
So, I mean, I'll be on to it. My concern is this, let's move out to the executive week. What happened here, what do you plan to do about it? One,
Let's take that outside because we're having difficulty.
And two, I am concerned about the hostile work environment that this person is causing for the workers. Can you imagine having to work under this duress? Is there anything legally that can be done? Because it is creating a hostile work environment, not just for you guys, but for the actual staff. Ms. Clifton, Chief West. So this is a problem that, you know, how are you going to rectify that? Are we going to get sued because they can't be in a safe work environment? Because all of us see that it's absolutely not. So, I mean, what are you guys going to do? Somebody leaked the information. We know that now. I'd like to see it taken care of, and I would like it publicly told to us when it happens what you will be doing about it. I would like you to consider doing that. As a citizen here, I would like to see you working the budget toward infrastructure to public works. Yeah, we have all these departments, but we have a lot of things breaking in the old system. We were currently working on that. And Kyle has a good plan going. For years, money was going everywhere but public works. There was also misclassifications in the audit. I got a report that read, and I should probably give that to you, Preston, that says that stuff was being misclassified. And what I mean by that is until last year when Sarah and Roger fixed it, we had police administration costs coming from our public works department. I mean, it just was all over the place. It was so concerning that they noted it in the auditor's report. So what Sarah was cleverly working on, and Roger, was putting things where it went. We also had no contingency fee. We had no money left over ever. So that was changing. We knew we might have to supplement it when there was some breakage that we had to fix this year. We knew that that would have to be redone. I don't want to hear how it was so bad until you guys decide to go back 5 years and look at how bad it really was. Okay, that bothers me as a citizen. Also, there's a water master plan, you guys. Read it, know it. We paid $500,000 through Tetra Tech to have it done some years back. It shows the outline of the plan, you guys, and it was ignored. Things were not focused on fixing. It was if it was break, okay, we'll fix it. But we had a plan made so we could move forward with it, okay? Know your water master plan, it's online. Yeah.
Can I respond, please?
Sure.
Are you referring to my comment about delinquency?
Pardon?
Were you referring to my comment about delinquency?
Delinquency, I'm not sure what
Okay,
you're talking
so that's
about.
fine, that's fine. Ms. Glenn, I gotta be honest with you, I would love, I mean, I think, are we still looking for so many people on budget committee? Can we still have people if you have so much experience? I mean, look, you have a wealth of knowledge, I'm sure we could learn from.
Yeah, you know what, I'll talk to you, I'll give you all the information I have, but no, I have no, desire to be in this.
Understandable.
But thank you for the offer. I hope when you fill those 2 seats, though, that this council become more diverse. There were some good candidates on the other side that maybe might apply. I don't know any, but I'm just thinking that, the fighting needs to stop, and the only way to do that is if you guys stay focused. You're doing good about staying off Facebook. And again, I don't care. I don't care what you say in your private time. It doesn't give me my worth. I mean, does it anybody, you guys? No. So just stay focused and do what you have to for us. That all this drama, we were up there trying. And we were attacked meeting after meeting, and it was to create the things that happened, the drama. Roger Brown, that man was constructively terminated, in my opinion, because he was battered, threatened, ugly emails about his deceased wife, being called a effing coward. All of those things were witnessed, and I mean, could you have done your job? So lighten up on him too. Thank you.
Dylan, I would invite you to come to our budget committee meeting next Monday. I think you might appreciate that Public Works is the centerpiece of the budget that I'll be presenting. It's Public Works may have been ignored in some ways, but so have other parts of the city in the past. But moving forward, there are significant changes that we'll be doing in managing our infrastructure.
Well, it's a must. It's to the point now where we've let it go so long that this has to be a priority. And if you get into that master plan and you talk to Kyle about the little U things that are just breaking underground and that this is going to continue if we do not, so I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. And yeah, I might just show up to here.
Yeah, and one of the big projects of the last couple of years, it's only been one, but it's been pretty time consuming, is an update to our wastewater treatment facility.
Mm-hmm.
The city was able to apply grants and implement that, and that project's
$1 million, you got it?
it's about a $1.7 million project, of which is all wrapping. And will be closed out this fiscal year.
So President, then you know about grants, and this guy that we leaked that he's been hired, this man has excellent grant writing skills, and that's what we need and then the contingency I'm talking about, you guys, some of these grants are match grants. We've got to have a percentage of the money. If you don't have anything left over, then you don't have it, right? So give the guy a chance and give him something to work with by tightening your belts but I read his credentials. I think a person put it on there and I read it, and man, you might have just got yourself a real winner. That's what I think. So, yeah. Anyway, good luck.
Lisa Chapel, 14 East Elm Lane. So what I'm wondering is, from all of you, in the alleged
the name of the man, the new city manager coming in that was released that shouldn't have been. Or what are your plans to do to have something like that so it doesn't happen again? I mean, I know anybody can talk, any of you can let the cat out of the bag. But obviously, somebody knows how or who it had to have come from. How are you gonna help to prevent that in the future?
I think the only thing is we've all got to be more conscientious of who we're talking to and when we're talking to them. You know, that's the main thing, is everybody should feel the same way too about situations like that.
I mean, you're gonna have to sit there and go, okay, Jesse, don't you say a word. Audra, don't say a word. Petra, don't you? I mean, in order to set the tone.
Correct. There are rules to follow, but I think, we can all agree that, you know, sometimes you go home, you're gonna talk to your wife, your kids, you know, without even thinking things like that.
Well-
Not saying that happened, I'm just saying.
No, I
So we
understand
all
that, but
gotta
at the same
be
time,
conscious
I won't be able to trust them either because chitter chat to my best friend, don't you
That's
say nothing.
why I'm saying that we all need to be more conscious of what we're saying and who we're saying it to.
In the executive meetings, nothing was supposed to be discussed, not with a spouse, not with anyone. So how can you say, go home and you chit chat or whatever? It's coming out and it's coming.
I'm saying it's human nature. And so it says it is human nature. And so now we're sitting here saying we gotta buckle up and make sure we're more conscientious going forward on this.
Kathy, I will tell you, in our house, we have an agreement. We do not talk politics. We do not, whatever happens here with him and the council doesn't have any.
Yeah, excuse me, Miss, you can discuss it when you come up with the table if you want. Thank you.
I respond to what you said, your question. Can I respond to your
Oh.
question?
I just forgot. Oh, so, okay, so if I got somebody that, you know, what's the corrective action?
Training. Well, I mean, whenever anybody makes a mistake, the first thing you should try to do is talk to them about it, discuss it, and then direct to them with the training to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Wouldn't that be
You know.
done before? I mean, some of this training prior to,
There's,
instead of waiting for it to happen?
you would think so, but there's really not much training until you actually get on the seat. You gotta start applying for these classes that are out there. And these classes, if you actually go look at the LOC and a lot of other places, they're not available except for a certain time of the year. So like when I first came on, they had ethics, another session up, I immediately jumped on that one. And since then, they've actually been canceling several of them. So the training, unless the city wants us to go out there and personally bring a trainer in and pay them to do the training, we're following the proper procedures by actually signing up for the classes when they become available.
Can I respond to your question? Yeah.
Please.
Your initial question, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, was how are we going to shore up the leaks? That was your concern.
Yeah.
Look, I can't tell you who leaked what because I don't know. That's just the honest truth, because I know I've been told that I've leaked things that I haven't leaked. So I know what's happened since then is I have talked to every one of these people who are still here and said, hey, I don't know what happened. I actually don't care what happened. I mean, I don't personally. People may, and that's fine. What I do care is that this stuff stops. This can't happen. And so the conversation about, like you brought up, about, or he said it's human nature to talk to your wife or whomever. It is human nature, but it has been reinforced overly so in the last 2 weeks that cannot happen. If it happens again, I mean, look, it's gonna have to be one of us four. So like, it's gonna get narrowed down really quick. I have no desire to talk about this stuff outside of here. Like, I want to talk about soccer and baseball and all these other things with my kids. This is not the most exciting thing in my life. It's not what I talk about in my spare time. I know, it's crazy. So look, I know I was talking to all three of these people. They've all talked to me about concerns about that because you're concerned, I'm concerned. But since we don't know who actually did it, it's hard to say. I also want to say that I believe that a person who's propagating some of this stuff throws out things that they say, I heard from somebody else, and then waits for you to confirm it. Which we should all be very careful as well. Saying that you did this, or I heard this from so-and-so, and then you say, oh yeah, okay. Then they're like, oh yeah, they said it too. That is a learning curve that we are all learning. And I am learning to shut up a lot of times in my private conversations because they
Bite you in the ass is what's happening.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else, please?
Can I just ask? There's a lot of this about what's happened, I understand that. Is there anything that people really want to see on our next city manager besides the infrastructure? I heard that loud and clear, I wrote it down, got it. Is there anything else you'd like to see in our next permanent city manager? Because let me talk about this process real quick. We're gonna put that thing out there, give us a bunch of candidates, and we're gonna narrow it down. We having criteria that you guys want for the next city manager be really helpful narrowing down that process. There's something you want to see, like I can tell you right now, I'm hoping we get some who speak Spanish. Because we have a lot of Spanish people who work here. I've talked to the police department, what they want. I'm gonna be talking to Kyle, what he wants. We also want to hear from the community. So if there's something you want to see in our next city manager, can you let us know? If you don't know what thing right now, email us because we want to get you a good city manager.
Sorry, I missed what you said.
Yeah. Oh, I thought the city manager that y'all had voted for was good.
He's temporary. We need to get permanent.
He's an interim city manager at this point, but if he does good, he is possibly a candidate to be permanent as well. So when it comes to that time, we'll draw from a pool, do an interview process, and we'd like your opinions. If he was good for however long he's with us as interim, please tell us.
Can you do a year on them when you do select somebody? That way it gives you a whole year to evaluate them after that, and then, you know, before you.
No, I don't.
Joe, good point. 1025 Ivy. No, I just want to just point that out, that if you're gonna give some city manager to give them a year and then you reevaluate them instead of you getting stuck with somebody, you know, like, oh my God, we should have done this. And
You mean
spent-
like a probationary period,
Excuse me?
a probationary period for the
Yes.
city manager?
Correct.
Tyler, didn't you say that that's things like that can be put in the contracts? Yes, sir. Correct.
And that would be awesome and stuff. So that way you guys have a whole year to, you know, it wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be, or the qualifications that he said are not up to standard, you know, and so there'll be somebody out there maybe that would fit that for Jervis instead. That's it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else, please?
My name is Amy Skinner, I'm 6'5" East Elm. To kind of continue with some of the things that I've seen from other people on Facebook and knowing what's gone on at Dollar General, hearing complaints that our police want to leave, I would like to make sure that the next person has some form of either training going into or knowledge based on how to better improve our police department and support them to better support our community. I've been seeing a high uptick in graffiti and a bunch of other things that is very unsettling. I have, within the last few months, have caught 6 different crimes on my front with cameras and turned over film to police. This is concerning to me. I moved here because it's quiet. I'm sorry, I've been here less than 5 years. But I came here because of what I knew of the city at that time. Another aspect is I've heard that it has not been a legal, lawful application process because on different background checks levels and different interview levels. I just want to ask the lawyer, was everything done lawfully during this interview and hiring process for the intern? Yes. And then thank you guys for getting someone who does seem a lot more qualified and fits the requirements that are needed at this time for the city. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate you guys standing up against the bullying. I'm very sad to lose ones that are affected by the bullying for their families.
I'm also very concerned about the leak. I don't know who did it. I don't care, but let's make it not happen again. And if it does happen again, I want to see repercussions. I want to see it follow through to the full extent because that's not okay. Thank you.
Want to answer a couple
Yeah,
questions?
I will. All of the aspects of the hiring process that I was involved in and aware of were lawful.
Thank you.
He's your king of the battle, you guys, all you military folks. He is the king of the battle. He's there to shoot down the missiles. All the attorneys that you have for the city. I don't know. Literally.
So long time.
I didn't know he was military, sorry.
Protect the city, as long as you counsel.
She was making a reference.
Oh, I
As
thought
long
you
as
were
you
saying.
listen to him for legal. It'll be fine.
She's saying he's our captain. Let him captain shit. He says, don't do it, don't do it.
For the city and personal, y'all can be held personally liable.
That's correct. And so I can make it known, when I first took over and there were some resignations, there was an immediate need for experienced personnel in here that knew actually what they were doing. So when the 2 resignations came, I reached out to the COG. They have the most experience out of the state. There are other groups out there. You're going to pay more if you go to them, but we already had a contract with the COG. So they were able to assist us by giving us a temporary interim city manager, and they were able to assist us by introducing us to Tyler. And so far, I'm happy with the situation because they are experienced. Now, there's not going to be any work in any of this. He said, she said, with what we're finding and everything else. I mean, they are working with what they have in front of them right now. They are fixing what they can. They're getting ready for the budget to come out on Monday. Whether people, had their own opinions in the past on how it was, how it needed to be. Again, those are opinions. Until you show me in black and white how something happened or how something is wrong, I'm going to consider it an opinion, no matter who it comes from, whether it was former counselors, former mayors, former employees. Everything's an opinion until you can show me in black and white. Because statistics and facts, that's what we need to run with, not emotions. So now that the COG has assisted us here, we took the time, and it does take time to go ahead and go out and write to the applications for the interim city manager position. So once that is done, we are immediately going to start looking into a permanent. Now, like you said, Jesse said, maybe we could be lucky and it'll be the same person. Either way, we're trying to push this forward so that we can get the permanent one in here as soon as possible, even if it's the same person. That is our goal. That's what we've been trying to do. And that's the next step. That's why Jesse's been asking, what do you all want to see in the city manager? What kind of priorities do you want to see the city moving forward to going forward?
And even if you've lived here less than 5 years, we do want your opinion. They are a big voice in this community as well. Newcomers, oldcomers, middle roads, we're all in this community and we all need to have a voice and share our opinions. And everyone has a voice and they should be heard.
I'm sorry, I heard Amy's comment, and I did want to say this one thing about what she said. Our police department is understaffed at the moment, and it's something we need to fix. The officers we do still have here are working their butts off. So while you may be frustrated with what's going on in the town and completely understand that, make sure you let them know you appreciate what they are doing, because they're not like just sitting on their hands. They're doing everything they can. When we get more officers, it will be better, but right now they're doing the best they
Wasn't trying to insult them. I think they need the help. That's all I'm saying. So let's help them.
can. I just know that we're talking to people that they feel appreciated, so I want to make sure I say out loud, Officer Marshall, thank you for what you're doing.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next person, would like to speak, please.
No, we're done.
Is anybody online for? Yes, I'm here.
I'm not saying anything.
Your Honor, if I might, on the process, if you engage the COG to facilitate the hiring of the permanent one, there are steps you go through, and one of them is developing a profile. It's a public process that the council follows through, and you're asking for input, into that process. So that once you develop the profile, then the actual recruitment can begin. And so I don't know what scheduling have lined up, but the attributes that you recruit for, that you highly value, that's written down. It's all part of a public process. So that's coming on later agendas.
Thank you.
And just give one more insight to that process too. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Preston, once we go through the candidates, we narrow them down, they'll also have a chance for them to meet and greet with the community. Is that correct?
You bet. That's a typical process. I've been through it myself as a candidate and helped with other processes. And you bring in a top candidates, 3, 4, right in there. And generally that's like a weekend kind of experience. You have a meet and greet with the community, maybe a Friday night, Saturday, they meet the staff, they do tours, and then it ends on a Sunday with an executive session interview with the finalists, with the council. And that's just a thumbnail sketch of kind of how it can go. Council can modify that in many ways, but that's the typical element. You include the community as well as your staff.
Thank you, Preston. Councilors, does anyone have anything they want to say to the public? If there's nobody else that was, I want to thank you all very much for coming. One thing to consider, we do have city cleanup coming up, correct? Yes. So everybody realize city cleanup's coming. I'll be out there volunteering to help too. If anybody else wants to come volunteer, please do. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's now 7:54 and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for coming, everyone.